So in this video, I'm going to quickly show you guys how you can set up DaVinci Resolve to automatically save backups of your project files in the background while you're working. Now, although I've never actually had any incidences where DaVinci has corrupted a project file or I've had anything go wrong with a project file, so I had to go back to a previous project file, it is nice to have this feature just in case anything happens. And if you're working on a paid project or anything that's important, then it might be smart to just have this setting turned on just in case things do go south. So this is all pretty simple. All we want to do is just head over to the DaVinci Resolve menu in the top left here and select Preferences. The keyboard shortcut is Command, comma. We're going to be presented with this pop-up over here, and by default, it's going to be on System. You're going to want to head over to User over here, and under Project, Save, and Load, you're going to want to make sure that Live Save is turned on, and below that, you want to turn on Project Backups. Now, DaVinci is automatically going to be backing up our project files in the background while we're working. Now, below Project Backups, we have a couple different drop-down menus here that allow us to optimize how DaVinci is going to be making these backups in the background. So an important thing to understand about how these backups work is that they begin to be discarded on a first in and first out basis once this amount of time here expires. So we have three different options here. We have minutes, hours, and days. So the first one here allows us to choose how often DaVinci is going to make a backup within each hour. So in this case, we have every 10 minutes, so that would be 6 backups in each hour. Once the hour is complete, DaVinci will start to delete these backups on a first in, first out basis. So basically what that means is as a new backup is created after we've hit an hour, then the first backup that was originally created is going to be deleted. And it's going to continue this on and on as you're working. The reason these backups are being discarded on a first in, first out basis is to basically just save space on your drive. So really the only values that we could choose from in this first drop down are any from 0 to 60. We can't go past 60 because this is just letting us choose how many backups we want to perform within each hour. Now the second row here allows us to choose how many hourly backups we are saving. So in this case, it's set to 2. So once we've worked in the program for 2 hours, we will have 2 hourly backups saved for that day. And once we passed 2 hours, the earlier backups are going to start to be discarded on a first in and first out basis. So if I was to set this to 10 over here, then the program would have to create 10 hourly backups of the project file first before it starts to delete any of the earlier backups. And this last row over here allows us to specify how many days you want to save backups for. So the way that this works is the very last project backup saved on any day is preserved as the daily backup for that day. So if I'm done working for the day and the last backup that was made was at like 6 p.m., then that will be the backup that is used for the daily backup. And if I want that backup for that day to be preserved for 10 days, then I'm going to want to set this to 10 days. Now, depending on what kind of project you're working on, you might want to raise or lower this number. For example, if you're working on a quick little Instagram cut that you're going to be done in one day, then it might not make sense to have this as a high number. But if you're working on a very big, extensive project, then you might want to go to previous backups of your project. Maybe you want to go like 20 or 30 days in, so you can just bump this number up to whatever you like. 30 would be playing it very safe. That way you have a lot of backups to go back into. And of course, this last area allows us to choose what folder we want to save these backups onto. Right now, this is being saved onto my internal SSD on my laptop. But a lot of the time, what I will do is create a new backups folder within the project files folder of my project and save these backups into there so that that folder of backups is on the same drive as all the other media and project files and all that kind of stuff. And of course, you want to be making a backup onto another drive. So as long as you are copying over those backup files to another drive as well, you're playing it very safe. And that way you have an exact backup on a separate drive of the exact same files. So let's press save and let's head over to our project manager. Now in here is where we are able to access the backups. So what I can do is right click on this project file right here and select project backups. And in here, we're going to see a list of all the backups that are being made of the project file as they come. So because we set our preferences to every 10 minutes, this project backups list is not going to be updated until 10 minutes goes by. So I'm just going to set that to 1 minute really quick so we can just get an update here. I'm going to head over to here, open up project backups. And right away, we can see that we already have our first backup auto-generated in the background right here. And in this window, we are able to navigate to any previous backup simply by just selecting them and selecting load. We'll have to give it a new name because we are opening up the same project file, but an earlier version. So this one by default has the word copy at the end. We can click OK. And we can see in the background over here that we have now 2 project files open. This is that earlier version that we just opened up. We can see the name, it has copy over here. And it's really as easy as that. If we ever want to delete some of the backups, we can go to project backups over here, select the previous backup over here, and we can just select delete. Now, of course, this is the way that we set up DaVinci to automatically back up our project files. If we want to do it manually ourselves, what we could do is simply just right click on the project file over here, export project, select where we want to export it, and it's going to export it as a .drp file. And with that file, you can move it, put it anywhere that you want, and basically treat that file as a backup in itself. But of course, I think it's a lot easier to just have DaVinci doing this in the background. That way we can just outsource that task to the computer and not have to worry about it. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something new, and I'll catch you in the next one.